I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Alrighty, here we go. Welcome to the Thursday KVJ After the Show podcast. It's nice to be here in the free world of digital, where you can talk about what you need to talk about, can talk like real humans, don't have to worry about the restrictions of the FCC, and if you're going to be talking about the Diddy story, you really can't tell the thing and do full justice on the regular show, because there's so many little ins and outs going on with this crazy story that to really paint the true picture needs to be done on the After the Show. Now, you were kind of going in a bit on what Cassie was talking about yesterday on the stand, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that is coming out here with some twisted things as you start to see what's going on with Diddy. And a few of the things that are alarming, you've heard all the stories, but the one thing that's standing out to me is how just repeatedly people are talking about his eyes turn black and he becomes an unrecognizable version of himself, kind of like he morphs into this monster that is doing these horrific sexual activities.
Like he's possessed.
Well, they say that about sex offenders. They say that about murderers, that all of a sudden something takes over them, and you can physically see it happen in their eyes.
The devil.
It's like their soul gets taken over.
I believe it. Because you think, like, you hear these stories about people that, like, acted normal for most of their life and then all of a sudden, like, did something horrific. You can be possessed by a devil. I truly believe it.
Or maybe there's something too scientific. When a body or a person gets to that much rage and anger, something physical happens to their eyes, and most people can't even get to that point of rage to get their eyes to be that way. See what I'm saying?
Devil ain't gonna get me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know devil I got you.
Only devil gonna get me is them deviled eggs. I will get down on some deviled eggs.
Devil try to get you. You crawfish that devil right in his ass.
Yeah. I would peg the devil.
It'll be interesting to see how much stuff really comes out in the course of this trial, because it feels like there's just so many things that we have heard. If you've really delved into some of the videos of Jaguar Wright, what I'll Be Sure has said about what he did. The thing that was kind of interesting that did come out was the whole thing about Diddy possibly blowing up that car.
Kid Cudi's car.
That's kind of crazy.
He threatened to do it.
Yeah.
And then just a matter of hours later, Kid Cudi's car blows up in his own driveway. Like, dude.
I mean, I'm pretty convinced. I think this guy really needs some serious time in prison, and I'm hoping that he gets it. They had offered a plea deal, and he was like, nope, he wants to challenge it. So it sounds like what the defense team is basically spinning is that, just because you abuse somebody or what happened in that Cassie video doesn't necessarily make them a sex trafficker. And I think that's kind of what their defense is. Which is kind of an odd thing, but I guess you can't fight that video. It seems pretty clear, and he did issue an apology right after it.
And prosecutors are showing there are a bunch of different sex workers from all over the country, specifically male escorts that he may have been bringing from state to state for prostitution purposes. That is one of the 5 felonies, and I think they're proving that by everything that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
She also had to sit there and identify all of these male sex workers. They were like, hey, do you know this person? Oh, yeah, that's so-and-so. He's an adult movie star. Hey, do you know this person? Yeah, that's so-and-so. He is a male prostitute. Hey, do you know this person? No, I don't know his name. All I know him as is the Punisher.
The Punisher?
But when he would finish, so when the Punisher would ejaculate, Cassie was required to collect the sperm from him and take it in the other room with Diddy and rub it on Diddy's nipples.
What?
What is right?
Yeah.
We couldn't talk about this in the morning show?
Yeah, that dude, I mean, he just went to whole new levels of crazy. Wow.
Well, look, if you already and got a good spirit in you, and then you mix that up with drugs, and I'm talking heavy drugs, and
Yeah.
then you're around yes people, and then you have power on top of that. Dude, that's a recipe of just bad news, man.
Yeah, I think there's a guy that really, honestly, he gave up his soul. You've heard the story. It's been around in music, especially for a while, the people that sell their souls to the devil.
Yes.
This just sounds like somebody that sold out, lost whoever he was growing up. I'm sure hopefully he was a lovely individual, but at some point, man, Diddy with the music, the fame, and everything else, it turned him into a twisted adult that really just does not belong.
Or was he always twisted?
I don't know.
You know,
don't
I
know.
mean-
Don't know. I don't know if it was the fame and all that stuff that twisted him, or if he was twisted before. Could
There's
have
a
been.
lot of people who become famous that don't, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that does it, but fame does and money does affect some people. Some people just are not good with it.
I think, yeah, to your point, I think if you got someone who's already psychotic and then you start bringing in fame, power, drugs, all that stuff.
Now you have the means to do it.
Yeah, well, now a monster's been created.
Well, and one thing that you just often see is that as you get powerful and wealthy, a lot of people, if you don't have a good group around you, you have yes men, and they enable you and make you think that all these things that you're doing that are not good and are messed up, no one's calling you on your shit.
Like, Kevin, stop putting 17 buckets of cum on your nipples.
That to me was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like that.
I also heard, too, I don't know if this story is true just because Bieber's attached to the story all the time. It seems like Diddy and Bieber's name. Did Bieber sell his music catalog for a bunch of money because he was bankrupt? Or was that a fake story?
I don't think anybody knows for sure. They're kicking it around because what they're doing is they were talking about how he had canceled that tour and he took an advance out on that tour. I think it was $40 million he needed. He took an advance of $20 million. And then when he didn't do it, then he basically lost that $20 million, and he's got to recoup that. And
It's a lot of money. I don't
It's a
care
lot of
how
money.
rich you
It
are.
is.
It is.
Yeah, and so that was it. Right now, I'm seeing the Bieber stories. I don't think anybody necessarily knows what's going on with him. You just see little glimpses of him and what he posts up.
He's in Iceland right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's working on an album, but the one thing that is going on with him is you're hearing these weird little rants. He just put out that 13-page slideshow on Instagram where he's using this face filter. He's changing his voice. He rants on a bunch of topics like talking about his faith, honor, integrity, fishing, purpose, his desire to please with people. And it's kind of odd. He then starts talking about God, how he has a plan for him. Everything's going to be good, or Gucci, as he says. So he's got these weird little rants. But the one thing he is doing a lot, he is smoking a ton of weed. You saw when he was at Coachella doing that. The photo out today is him with the big bong. And I don't know there's anything with that, but they are starting to look into people that, because I think you can abuse about anything.
But
And they're just wondering, what could it be with him? Is he doing too much marijuana? Is there something in his marijuana that's another drug? What is happening? Does he have mental health issues that are happening?
According to TMZ, he did sell his entire music catalog for $200 million.
yeah, because they're saying he's out of money.
And he still owes his former manager, Scooter Braun, millions of dollars.
Yeah, I just from the little contextual clues, I don't think he's necessarily even wrong. I think he feels like this music industry
Ate him alive.
Yes, and him from being in Diddy, and who knows what he was doing there.
Who knows what Diddy did to him, but
Right.
whatever it was, Diddy thought that Justin was wearing a wire in that one video and was patting him down to see if Justin was ratting him out to the feds.
And it's
Whatever Diddy did to Justin was heavy.
And you can also track this whole kind of downfall, if you want to call it that, with Justin Bieber when all this Diddy shit started breaking. All this news, Justin
Yeah.
Bieber's name was all through this thing.
You're right.
And all those videos resurface. And you can't tell me if you were already dreading that part of your life and then all coming out and for everyone to see when you thought it may not ever be, yeah, that can fuck you up.
He was at a point in his life where he's going to make that big jump, where he was kind of a teenager, becoming a young adult, and he really needed a good influence to help him in that transition. That's a tough time for guys in life.
Yes, anybody, much less somebody with all that fame.
Yeah, and he had the wrong person help him transition. And keep in mind, too, he's, his dad's back in his life, but, he had kind of been out for a while. And, I think that might have been a challenge for him. And maybe his dad wasn't there in these moments.
Yeah.
So,
And everything's on social media. Even when your private time is on social media, it's still a form of media. It's hard to, and the way the press looks at it is, we get to take pictures of you if you're a celebrity because we are the ones helping selling your albums. We're keeping your name out in the press. So you got to dance like how we have to dance. We're all doing this dance together. So when you start to snap back at I think the media can be dick faces, but when you start fighting with them and you start, I'm not taking pictures, it's not going to go great. It never does go great.
Yeah.
Ask your boy.
Here's a big part of the problem, too. I think Justin Bieber was born and his parents were both 18. Okay, that is very, very young. And those people are supposed to protect you. They probably weren't able to protect him from people like Diddy and Usher the way they were supposed to because they were young. They were 18 when they had Justin Bieber. That's crazy. And if you don't have protection as a child, I think everything else, when you try to cope with being an adult, can fall apart.
Oh, dude, everything comes back to your childhood.
Everything comes back to your childhood.
Eventually, it's going to come up and have something to do with how you are as an adult.
He wasn't protected by his parents, who were young and maybe not capable. And then he was abused by this music industry and by the people that he trusted and looked up to. No wonder Justin Bieber's a damn mess.
Well, too, I don't think anybody who gets to that level of fame, whether you're Michael Jackson, Justin Bieber, you become out of touch with just regular things because everything is out of touch.
Right.
People don't treat you like a normal person. And yeah, the fame and the money and all that looks great, but still at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to do a sad story, but I mean, just as a human, you are a human that's going to break you down eventually. You're not. You can't have a regular conversation, and then it probably gets to a point where if you think you're having a regular conversation with somebody, you go, "Are they just kissing my ass right now?
Are they using me?"
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a weird. I can see how it could fuck with your head and turn you into a weirdo.
And in an odd way, even though you're surrounded by people all the time, I think some of these people feel very alone.
Lonely. He wrote a song about it.
Yeah, because they feel like everybody's a wolf around them. They're not true friends, and there's nobody that he really can trust to be around him.
It makes sense, y'all.
Yeah. Well, pressure too, and pressure to still stay relevant. Oh, that's another part of that syllabus. That's going to cause people to break down as well.
Yeah,
I mean, how you deal with pressure is a big part of life.
Yeah, it's tough. Honestly, when you get into the games with the wealthy, and especially people that are wealthy and twisted, it is a nasty combination, and you can have innocent people walking into that world, and it can forever change you.
He was 15 when Baby came out. So that he should have been protected by somebody, anybody. I don't think anybody did.
I think his mom felt like Scooter Braun was there to protect him and walk him through that. I think that was really what Scooter was supposed to be. But
who put him in the hands of Diddy?
That's it. Exactly. That was where, it went south. And look at what Diddy was at the time. Diddy was a kingmaker. Everything Diddy was doing was, knocking out hits. So you probably thought, who better to craft our young son's career than Diddy?
I always hate talking to rich, powerful people. I ask our conversations never go well. So you guys like Hot Pockets?
They're like, what is that?
What the fuck is this guy? Don't you have to go get me a tray of food?
It is. You can't relate if you're not in that world. You really don't have any common ground to talk about anything because it's just there is such a divide with the massively wealthy people and just normal people that live and shop and do what we do on a day-to-day basis. Stephanie sent an email that kind of emphasizes this. She said, my fellow coworker was talking about how he's taking a trip to Dubai, and the topic quickly turned to a fetish that is commonly known that happens in Dubai, where women from other countries will go over there and get paid to let these wealthy men poop on them.
What?
Several of my coworkers knew this to be true, and I was absolutely flabbergasted, standing there with my mouth open and wondering how I've never heard of this. And so my question to you is, have you ever heard of this?
No.
And would you let someone poop on you for the going price of $100,000? I said, absolutely. And where do I sign up? Stephanie is in. $100K. Yes, baby.
For $100K,
Yeah.
do you let Tom from Port St. Lucie just take a big old dump right on your chest?
Tom loves Taco Bell. Just letting you know.
And he ate a lot,
He
Kevin.
runs for the border, and then he has the runs.
He's one of those guys that he gets up. He's like, hold on, not done yet.
Round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, for $100,000 tax free.
Yeah.
As soon as he's done, it goes right into your account.
But it's
Yeah.
on your chest/neck area.
And there's eye contact never broken.
That's the rule.
100 large, baby.
I'm a no. I'm a no.
If Panda gives you his blessing,
I would consider it.
you would.
I think so. $100,000's a lot of money.
I'm with Kevin. But I wouldn't do it for the show for a bit.
You would do it for
Which is
nothing.
that doesn't make any sense.
You know
though.
what? I get that, though.
Yeah, it's for the art, baby.
I get that, though. I honestly, I'm right there with you. I do understand that. You would have me better and be like, yeah, it's for the show.
Yeah.
People really like it. It's more persuasive to me than $100,000.
People want you to do it for the show.
It's for the nation, baby.
Well,
it's for KVJ Nation.
Let's take a poll.
I think they would side with me and Kevin.
How much of KVJ Nation wants Kevin and Jay Bird to take a hot steamer on the chest?
I don't think
that's not.
Yeah, I don't think. First of all, I really don't think they want that.
Yeah.
But they would be more forgiving of us. They would. I think
Doing
they
it for a bit. Yeah, you're not selling out.
Exactly. Exactly. They go, all right. It's
You're
not,
doing it for the love of the game. You're almost doing it for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing this because you want to see this.
Here's my love letter.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
It is.
We're saying we'll do anything for you fuckers.
Right.
It's really what it's saying.
It's quite a statement here of KVJ Nationers. 52% would not take a steamer on the chest for $100K, but 48% would.
Wow.
It's a 50-50. It's half and half.
Very close.
Yeah, it's just unreal.
Shit split down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you got a bigger sample size, who knows how it would go?
You're right. We're only at 232 right now. If that's during the morning show, who knows the kind of numbers that would bring?
Amen.
We don't know.
Because I think this is more of our seedier part of our audience because they can listen to the F word. There's some people go, I cannot listen to the after the show.
Yeah,
There's too many
different
curse
style.
words.
Well, I mean, we've already gone through semen on nipples, steamers on the chest.
We're
I
so
get it.
sorry.
It's not for everyone.
Look,
No.
we didn't do it. Diddy did.
Yeah, well, it's just the twisted stuff that's out there. But look, its stuff is not much different than any of the stuff that we had heard with the Jeffrey Epsteins. And look, I think it's just it. When you get that much money and you see people doing things that normal humans shouldn't do, I just think these people get mad with power and they're like, wow, how much can I make this monkey dance?
Mad
for
with
money.
Mad with power is a thing. Power is very dangerous when the wrong people have it. And if you have unlimited funds and unlimited power, which Diddy had,
Yeah.
and you're an evil guy, look out, world. I truly in my heart believe if they look into the death of Kim Porter and they really found out what happened, that he would be involved. The night that Cassie breaks up with him, he goes into her house, forces his way in, and rapes her just to show her who's boss.
Yeah. But
That's telling you who he's all about right there.
that does fit an MO, though. There's nothing surprising in that story from everything else we've heard about Diddy.
Nothing surprising.
That's what I would expect him to do from the picture they painted of him.
He wants to let you know he's in charge, and when he's done with you, then it's done.
I don't know if there's anything in this other lawsuit that's out against him. It just came out every day. There's a new Diddy one, and we're paying more attention to the trial than this latest Jane Doe who claims that he sexually assaulted her. But what's most interesting about this is she said that Diddy had a penis which appeared to be the length and girth of a Tootsie Roll.
That's embarrassing.
She did say a large Tootsie Roll, but I don't know if that makes it much better.
Send me a large Tootsie Roll.
I have seen that longer one. It's real thin though, but the length is not terrible. Have you seen that one? It's in that big packet that kind of breaks off.
It's still got
but the girth, I wouldn't want the
tinge
girth
of pencil dick. But look, you can't help what you got down there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
if
it is a good tactic to embarrass him and humiliate him. All these legal maneuvers are all psychological too.
Yeah. So who knows what the truth is on that? But yeah, this trial is going to be fascinating.
I hope all the victims get to say their piece. I hope everybody who was abused by him gets to tell their story. And I don't know if Justin Bieber will tell it ever, but I think he's got a story. And I think when he finally does tell it, that will help him heal himself.
Yeah, I just can't see Diddy getting out of this without any kind of prison time. I would be stunned if he just walked straight out of the courtroom back to his regular life.
He shouldn't, right? I mean, you've got
Doesn't feel like it.
Jurors with their mouths agape and their eyes wide because they can't believe what they're seeing. Like that.
I mean, you got to prove it
That's
all.
Diddy.
You got to prove it, but the stories are they're jaw-dropping. Jaw-dropping stories. Another questionable individual, Steven, is coming after me here a bit. He says, Kevin, I cannot believe how stupid you are about Pete Rose.
Why? Why we gotta yell and call names?
There's a good opener.
Poor Kevin's just trying to do his gig, but now he's stupid.
There's a great opener. You stupid fuck.
If I had $1 for every time, I got that.
He says, as a manager, he decides who pitches every day. Therefore, he can change the rotation in order to help his bets. My argument against that, though, Stephen, is that really is public information for the most part anyway. They typically have the rotation laid out in advance, and if they switch it right before, any gambler would get that, and you could change your own bet.
But to Stephen's point, which I think he's saying, a manager knows certain intel that only that manager knows. For example, if Virginia's our star reliever pitcher.
Oh, I can relieve you.
And
Definitely.
Only I know and the pitching staff knows that her arm is sore. And you could still throw that.
You would know that if he were betting on the Reds to lose, yes. And I'm only going on if you're trusting Pete Rose that he only ever bet on them to win. To me, I don't see the extreme advantage of being the manager for that bet.
I do see an advantage, and I also think.
So do you think he should be then not allowed into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think the whole "we wait till you're dead" is stupid. Either have them, either forgive them, or they never get in. But to wait till someone's dead,
It's insulting.
to not only to
So they should have maybe just baseball held its stance and said, no, we made a stand and we're not going to allow him ever.
Well, it's
live, dead, whatever.
To me, I think it's such an insult, and I'm not even talking about Pete Rose. I'm talking about the Red fans, the Philly fans who did love what he did for the city, what he did for their team. You're shoving it in their face because they wanted to see him get in the Hall of Fame. Now, the Hall of Fame, they had rules. If you do this, you don't get in. He broke those rules. And the reason why, in my opinion, and I'll keep it short, Virginia, he didn't get in because Pete was never honest in the beginning. He lied, and then he lied again, and then he lied again. And when you lie that much, people have a hard time believing anything you say. He had a chance to really fall on the sword, and he didn't do that. And he lied too many times.
Yep.
So that's going to rub people, it's going to rub the purists the wrong way.
You didn't keep it short, by the way.
Fuck. She's right.
I wanted it to be a Diddy dick, but instead it was a much bigger penis.
Let me Charlie hustle this thing up. Yeah, but we can talk about this after the podcast.
After the show?
In fact, Kevin goes, dude, please do not talk to me about this.
Please. I'm blocking your number.
I do see an advantage that could be held with a manager that's betting. Yeah, you could. And I don't necessarily believe everything Pete wrote. I thought he was a great baseball player. I don't believe everything he says.
No, I don't either. I don't think he was a good human. I think he was a great baseball player. And this really is not necessarily about Pete Rose. I have a position about Hall of Fames that I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with. And I'm not positive I'm right, but it's my opinion that the Hall of Fames should tell the story of the sport. It's like walking through a museum when you see these kind of things. And the fact that he's the all-time hit leader, something that is #1 in the game of all time, that to me is all-star worthy, that needs to be in there to truly tell the story of baseball. Now you say, yeah, but he did something horrible. But there are so many people in that hall that you could sit there, if we're making this a moral decision, on morally, do you deserve to be on a Hall of Fame? That is a slippery slope.
Well,
when that comes into play, and you could go through the Hall of Fame and say, morally, I don't think that person should be in, and I don't think that person should be in. I don't have a problem putting a caveat below their name, telling the story of who they were. But I think if it's moral obligations instead of telling the story of the sport, that's where you're going to wind up with a lot of problems.
They've been clear about that. The morals of how you lived your life outside of the baseball field doesn't get you in or out of the Hall of Fame. It's if you fucked baseball over, if you went in there and cheated in baseball,
Right.
if you did steroids, if you were betting inside of the game, that's what they judge it on. Because I agree, there are some real fucking scumbags in the Hall of Fame of all sports.
Yeah.
But that's not how they judge it. They judge it on how were you inside of the sport.
Somebody, and I've never been to Cooperstown, New York, where they have the Hall of Fame. They said Pete Rose is all through it. And they said it's kind of odd that he's not allowed in the Hall of Fame where you have plaques and all these kind of things.
Oh,
and they are
yeah.
telling the story that. So I guess it's a weird caveat. Honestly, at the end of the day, he really is in the Hall of Fame. He's all in the story. If you didn't, you're not going to leave the Hall of Fame, according to what they said, and not know who Pete Rose was.
Look,
And so to me, I'm satisfied with that.
you're seeing guys get in there now that did steroids. You got to play the game like anything, and Pete didn't play the game the right way. He lied and he lied.
So
and
the
he lied.
steroid guys never make it in.
They're going to make it in. There's already guys in the Hall of Fame that have done steroids.
Which ones?
Because if I get it wrong, the baseball world will get. But there's absolutely a few in there that have done steroids, and you're going to start seeing people get in there. Now, will Barry Bonds, people like that get in? I don't know, because again, I don't know if he played the game the right way. He was very standoffish with the press for a long time, and then he tried to do. I'm talking too much about this.
Someone said, I'm going to keep it short, and then they
Can't do
kept
it.
it extra long.
Can't do it.
It was girthy.
Don't even bother sending me hate mail. I hate myself right now.
I'm writing a hate mail right now. Dear Jason,
I don't want to get it.
you
Yeah,
fucking fuck.
that's how it all started with Kevin. You dumb fuck.
Kevin, you dumb fuck.
No, it's fun. I apologize to our audience.
And he said, so based on that, would Diddy wind up in a musical Hall of Fame? First of all, I think you have to ask yourself, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? But yeah, I don't know. To me, like I said, where I am right now with Hall of Fames, rock and roll, all that kind of stuff, I like telling the history of whatever that was with having the fact that they contributed this musically, but here's who they were. And they were convicted and spent the rest of their life in prison. I hope that's what it says about Diddy, if he was ever in there. But I think you'd have a serious debate. Does Diddy belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he was that great.
Yeah, I mean, Diddy's overrated.
What Diddy did was trick us all into thinking
Yeah.
he was talented. Really, he was able to find talent.
Did he ever do a song that wasn't a sample?
I don't know.
I mean, his
I'm not
biggest
that
song
versed
was
in-
his biggest song was "The Police."
right.
Yeah,
Every breath you take.
he had a bunch of yeah. No, you're right. He had a lot of samples, but I think that's what his shtick was. A sample. I'm creating something.
He could spot talent, and then he could take advantage of those people. Obviously,
Yeah.
he was good at that.
Yeah, I think Nate's right. He said he was a better businessman than a musician. I kind of agree with that. He did.
He would punch you if you did not
Yeah, right.
fulfill your obligation.
Yeah, he did. He did. There's a full story about that. Diddy did do some amazing things marketing wise and all that. He was one of the first artists I remember that really got their own liquor He really kind of started that trend with the Ciroc and all that. He was a visionary when it came to marketing.
Look, you can be good at something.
Yeah.
You can have charisma. You can be funny.
That's why I like
have
telling.
talent.
I like
and
telling the whole
fuckface.
story of somebody. I think just to erase somebody, it's wrong. I think we learn something about our own humanity, and that you need to walk through a Hall of Fame and be like, hey man, there are a lot of people that got ruined because of music, and this is one of them.
And I can't wait for Justin to tell the story one day.
I don't think we even have scratched the surface when it comes to, you know how the big hashtag Me Too movement really, in my opinion, really got to Hollywood, the movies, the directors, all that.
Oh, I know.
Music, they escaped. I
Yep.
think music's going to be 10 times worse when it comes to the stories that will eventually come out.
You're right.
Natalie brought up Lance Armstrong cheated all those years. And, you know, that's a little bit different because, yeah, he did use something to enhance his performance. And I think you can still tell that story about Lance Armstrong because, man, remember that every year he won the Tour de France.
Well, I wasn't even mad at Lance Armstrong for the cheating and all that. There was other parts of that story where he did wrong, and then he tried to get people who weren't doing wrong in trouble. He
Yeah.
fucked over people's lives that didn't have the right to be fucked over. That's where Lance Armstrong really becomes a scumbag.
I agree.
Boy, what a 180 on that guy. Remember how much he was beloved?
Yeah.
He had those Livestrong bracelets, and everybody's like, what a great guy. And then 3 weeks later, we're like, what an asshole.
Lost a testicle, gained an audience.
He did.
He was down a ball, but he was beloved. Probably losing that ball was good for his Q score.
He was, I mean, he had a small cameo in the movie Dodgeball, and he does a scene with Vince Vaughn, and it's my favorite part of the movie. Vince Vaughn's all upset, and he's like kind of bitching at a bar, and Lance Armstrong, but this is what I basically saying. I went through cancer with my testicle and blah blah blah. You have nothing to complain about. It's a pretty funny scene, and I did it no justice. Take that out and my baseball stuff out today. Fuck. Terrible podcast for the
Denny's,
bird.
you're going to have to edit about 12 minutes now.
I got your title, Bird's Shitty Podcast. Man, don't you hate when you
I
try
think
to...
I'll just call it Bird Sucks.
I hate that. When you tried to tell something that was funny and you completely fucking butcher it. Good God. Nobody watched that scene now.
Some other things going on here, and this is rather interesting. In fact, I had some texting going on with some ladies at the end of the show after I played that little clip of the woman who was talking about her I Don't Care Anymore club about menopause.
Yes.
And it's just interesting to hear. Lynn had said, amen to Virginia talking about that. Our mothers never told us anything about what to expect with menopause, and our generation have been completely unprepared, and it's shameful. Menopause changes everything. Who you were before is not who the person you are after. And the person who was texting me during the show was talking a bit about how they had gone to the doctor to let them know about some of the symptoms they had and the hormone levels. And, she said, I just asked my doctor to include hormone level testing in my blood work, and my doctor refused and said, you're fine.
Yeah, it's insulting, and it happens all the time. And women are told it's normal, just go through it. Well, why should you if there's things you can do to make it less traumatic? And that's what it is. People have to understand, women and men need to know that menopause is traumatic for the person going through it.
Yeah.
And they change, and their personality changes, and their psychology changes, and how they look at things change. And so to act like it's no big deal and just suck it up, buttercup, is really a dick way to practice medicine.
Let me ask you this question, because I know someone that's going through this, and it seems as my buddy's wife, she's changed her personality, and she is really mean to him. And he's not a mean person. He's a very nice person. And I've seen her be mean for no reason, to the point where it's embarrassing. And then she blames it on menopause. What do you say to somebody who's married to someone going through that? Is menopause... I guess my question is menopause a viable, valid excuse to treat your partner like shit?
No. So I think that partners should be aware of what she's going through. But if she begins to abuse him and changes so drastically that she is now gone from being a nice wife to an abusive, mean wife, that I would never, ever say that that is forgivable. What I would tell them to do is to get into some kind of couples therapy and figure out tools to deal with her hot flashes, mood swings. These things are real and they do change you. And you do snap and you do lash out and you do feel bad afterwards. But professional intervention may be necessary if he's at the point where he is just sad in his marriage.
Okay, hold on. Let's really quick and send. I just had to send something to Panda. No, I'm not talking about.
Oh, I snapped at him last night and he didn't deserve it, but
So when that happens, do you try to make it right, or do you just go, fuck it, it's menopause, deal with it?
no, I didn't say anything. I just harshly corrected him for the behavior that I thought he shouldn't have done when he was just trying to be helpful and yeah.
Oh boy.
It's rough.
So, okay, but that is my question, because that's what's going on with my buddy. Something will happen to him, and he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And I've even seen it with my own eyes where he did nothing. She snaps, embarrasses him in front of people.
Well, that's not cool.
No, But I guess when you feel bad for snapping at Panda, do you now go back to him and say, "Hey, babe, I'm sorry for snapping at you," or do you say it was my menopause, or do you just say I'm sorry?
All of the above, and you have to talk about it because he sees me physically going through it with the hot flashes and the mood swings, and one mood I'm this and the next second I'm this. Like, it's like living with a crazy person.
Because I think that's what people want to know is, when are you just supposed to shut up and take it because someone's going through something very traumatic, or when is someone just being an asshole to you and you don't have to take that? That's what my question is.
I would say getting a therapist involved is very important at the point where you say your brother or your buddy is at. Your buddy sounds like she's just being cruel to him.
And then blames it on menopause.
But if he didn't do anything wrong and she's being cruel, that's different than he did something wrong and you lashed out and then said you were sorry afterwards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've witnessed things develop in real time, and I go, oh fuck, that was not cool.
Look, I know somebody whose wife is going through it like I am, and he has taken the initiative to do the research, to look into it, to try to figure out things he can do to make it less awful for her. And I posted a video today, ironically, on our Instagram stories of a husband who is doing it right, who is trying to preemptively prevent all of the things that could cause his menopausal wife to flip the fuck out. And I would just encourage any spouse of a woman who's going through menopause to please try to judge her a little less harshly. If she's being mean, just know it's because her hormones are playing tricks on her brain. She's having hot flashes that are making her temperature rise fucking 30, 40, 50 degrees and making her go insane.
But what if she hauls? Okay, I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm really just asking honest questions.
You're about to cross the line.
See, I'm scared, Kevin. But like, what if you say you temporarily go insane and you punch your mate? And it's menopause.
No.
When does I guess
I would never condone physical violence. That's not good. You should not hit your spouse, whether you're a female or a male.
But it was menopause, Virginia.
We don't do that. We don't strike our spouse. We love our spouse. There's plenty of other people out there that you could and should strike.
So there is a way to control certain things. If you're able to control that, then you're able to.
If she is intolerable, insufferable, if it's to the point where your buddy is like, I don't know what to do, they need to get in front of a therapist. And before it turns physically violent, figure out how to give her tools and how to give him tools to navigate it. I'm not at that bad of a situation yet where, like, everybody's crumbling. Everybody in my family knows what I'm going through because I'm very vocal about it.
You're vocal?
It's
That was a joke.
it's okay to talk about menopause. And I think the more we talk about it and the more everybody knows where everybody else is coming from, the better everybody will navigate it. It's only when we don't talk about it that we have severe issues and problems.
Okay.
Kevin.
As I'm having a hot flash and fanning my neck because I feel my temperature has gone up about 30 degrees.
Because I was asking questions?
No.
Okay.
Just because naturally this happens to me about 15 times during every morning show.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking scared over here.
I'm scared for your buddy.
I'm scared for him, too.
Because if you already have a mean wife and then she goes through menopause and gets like,
So are you saying you're a mean wife?
I'm not a mean wife normally.
okay.
But if you already have a mean wife and she becomes 30 to 40% meaner when she's going through menopause, good fucking luck.
How would you respond if you were in the midst of just chewing his ass and he just said something simply, is this you or is this the menopause? Like, where is this coming from? This level of vitriol.
Oh,
What does that do for you? Because I believe you need to be understanding, but I'm not a big fan of also being a doormat and just taking abuse constantly for no reason without any kind of chance to say, hey, can you be aware of your tone and the language you're using with me?
That's exactly where my buddy is at. You're basically saying what he's saying.
And-
I don't want to be a doormat, but I also don't want to be a dick and not understand what she's going through.
Well, she might be too big of a bitch to confront with those facts as she's having a meltdown. They may need to get an expert to help them that she can't lash out at. She can't lash out at the therapist that's giving her tools and trying to help her navigate menopause. She can lash out at her husband, and in privacy, it sounds like that's exactly what she is doing. And if it's crossing a line into abuse, I don't think that's healthy for any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You need help if it's abusive.
Right. And that's where I think that for guys, I would still try to phrase it nicely and try to stay in your own and don't let your emotions get involved with this. But yeah, I think at some point I have to be like, I need to say something about this because this is not fair to me.
Because couldn't you see also somebody using it?
100%.
They're just being an asshole.
Yes.
Oh, it's my menopause. Like anybody would use anything.
If she's always been a bitch and then she's about to go through menopause, look out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Time to go.
It's time to go.
Get your affairs in order and maybe get a lawyer.
Yeah, we got to menopause this relationship, but I got to call a legal team.
Yes.
Okay, and let me see here. Just a couple of comments about you were talking about going to Fort Lauderdale. You got an Airbnb, and you are actually getting it for a party, and Airbnb says no parties.
I'm not getting it for a party. The party is going to be held at a different place, but then we are going back to the house after the party to sleep and be.
Oh, okay, so you're not throwing any party there at all?
No, the party's
well,
not
then, yeah,
being-
you're not doing any kind of violation.
The party's not being thrown there. The party's at the Extreme Adventure Action Park, which is like 10 minutes away in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're fine on that. Then.
Yeah, I said that, but sometimes people don't hear that.
Well, whoever sent the email, they didn't hear it.
Disagree with her, Kev.
Whatever that person is saying, they weren't listening, and they're going to make my menopause come out.
Kev just,
Yes.
from what I understand, you just have to take it.
Okay. Cynthia had said Airbnb has to say no parties as an Airbnb policy. You can just contact the owner directly and deal with the owner, explain what you're doing, and you also have the possibility of getting a better rate by not going through Airbnb, is what she wanted to communicate to you.
Okay, thank you.
But listen better, Cynthia.
I have been dealing with the owner, but I said that also.
Okay, Cynthia.
Yeah, Cynthia.
I appreciate the help.
And Justin said, you guys have to check out the new indoor adventure park. If you want to go the other direction, you could go to Jensen Beach, where the old Sears was. It's called Elevate. It has everything: go-karts, bowling, arcade games, VR rooms, neon mini golf, laser tag, a bar with alcohol, laser tag. The list goes on and on. Just a big open warehouse with endless fun. It's priced what you think it would. Not cheap, but prices you would say, okay, whatever.
Man, there are so many shitty things I'm at that I love doing. I love laser tag, but damn am I shitty at laser tag. Even if I have Kevin right there, he's got no gun, and I'm pointing at the little bubble thingy, it doesn't fucking hit him. I am so shitty at laser tag. Some 8-year-old kid whooped my ass the last time me and Denny's played.
To make it fair, we're going to blindfold Kevin and then put him in the laser tag with you. Then maybe you'll have a shot.
Dude, I got my ass kicked by a group of kids and Denny's.
Yeah, people are saying it is very pricey. You don't get a day pass. You pay for everything individually.
Yeah, we gotta tell your kids before you go, look, we're not doing everything. Go on the website. This is what I told Rocco. Go on the website, pick out 2 or 3 things that you think would be the coolest to do at this place, and then that's what we're gonna go and do, and we're gonna have the fun, we're gonna have the party, but we ain't doing everything.
Okay.
They got everything now in these. They got escape rooms, ice skating, roller skating, go-karts, ropes course. Like, what? Arcade, bowling, everything.
I'm not sure I enjoy escape rooms. And it might be because I did all 3 of them with Virginia. That might have
That might be the common.
So maybe it's not the escape room.
Whatever. I helped you get out, you dumbass.
Homie.
You'd still be in there if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, but all you do is fucking roast me the whole time.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Because it's fun.
Oh, it was a hoot, Kev. And by the way, this is a PM, pre-menopause. You know, when she was a real sweetheart.
Okay, yeah. Before she had her excuse.
Yeah, before she had her
to snap at people.
Yeah. What a fucking sweetheart she was.
Yeah.
Before menopause.
They call me a doll baby.
I'd do another round with you, though.
That was fun.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done the escape room. I don't know if I'd want to. I don't
Kevin,
have a
it's
desire
so
to.
long, and
It's fun. It's fun if you can figure it out. Some of them are like, I got to do the ones that say easy or like medium. I tried the one that was hard. I'd still fucking be in there.
Oh, the first one.
The hard one is too hard, Kevin.
The first one I ever did, the guy who designed it, he looked like a scientist. He goes, "Oh, I gave you the hardest one I could come up with."
Fuck.
I'm like, dude, give me just the
Give me
one
the easy
with
one.
a box.
Where's
and
the kids' room?
So they probably take pride in it.
They
The fact
do.
that you're trapped
Yes.
in there and you can't figure out their puzzle.
They're watching you on the camera.
just
That
laugh
sounds
at you.
twisted. What is this? This sounds like some kind of weird type of Squid Game
We're arguing. I'm walking into
type
shit.
of. What the hell is this? Yeah,
We
Chris is
turn
like,
on each other,
Yeah.
and then we have to come back together to get out.
No, thank you.
It's like some sick guys up there just tossing off, watching the whole thing go down.
Yeah.
He might have been.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not going there. My goodness.
I love them. I think the easy ones are fun. Go easy at first.
I love them too, as long as you're not tossing off them and they're not with Virginia.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for riding through this one. Boys went everywhere today, huh? Okay. One more day to the weekend. We'll see you back here on Friday. Goodbye.